All right, Locker Room Philosophers, welcome back. It's me, Carlos, and your co host, Mike D. What's going on,
Yo,
Mike?
how are you?
Good, good. So, we're going to start this episode off with our new segment, Lessons from the Mat. Well, I guess it's not a new segment. We started it on the last episode, but we're back at it. So, Lessons from the Mat. My lesson from today was we were learning this kind of, it was like a basically we learned this move where I suck at it and I'm very likely never going to use it. It was like a guillotine, but then you're going to roll over them, but then if they try and defend it by entangling your legs, you can do some crazy stuff and get into a knee bar slash heel hook dilemma where you can catch them with a knee bar or a heel hook. And for those of you that don't know jiu-jitsu, it's basically a bunch of crazy stuff that me and Mike can't really do well at all. So the thing that I learned, because like we were talking about before we hit record, my immediate reaction to seeing it was, yeah, I'm never using this ever. I know I'm not going to be successful at it, but we're still going to try and figure it out. And the main thing that I learned was, hey, I'm exposed to this. When I roll with somebody that's better than me, they could potentially do this. Like if it's a person that's good at leg entanglements and inverting and doing knee bars and this crazy stuff, this is an option that they can do if I try to defend getting choked out by entangling their legs. So for me, the big thing that I learned was that exposure to it is a good thing, because now I know that when I'm in a live situation, that's an option that somebody can attack me with, and I know to defend it by doing different things. So how that relates to everyday life is you can fail at something and just write it off as, hey, this isn't going to be something I'm going to invest my time in. This isn't going to be something that I'm going to bother learning. But now that you're exposed to it, if somebody is basically, if you see it out in the real world, you're going to be exposed to and be able to react quicker. So, in a business perspective, we're both in real estate. Maybe that's all right. Somebody's coming at you with a certain dilemma, like they want some kind of crazy mortgage situation. There's some buy down, something like that. Okay, maybe you're not going to be providing that to your clients on a regular basis or trying to sell your clients on that thing, but now you're exposed to it. You know that it's an option, and you can refer to an expert on that and potentially offer that as a solution to your clients. And the exposure is the key thing there. Again, maybe that's not going to be kind of a core competency. Maybe that's not going to be something you're going to use on a regular basis, but now that you know about it, you can use that to your advantage. And whether that's in an offensive or defensive situation, you're at least aware of it, and being aware of more things is never a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it creates that neural pathway,
For sure.
and it's like, even though you might not be proficient at it, but it just starts, like you said, it's exposure, and it's there for you to build upon too.
For sure. What was your lesson?
My lesson from the mat was similar, but it was like, for me, it was okay, inversion, a little bit of inversion, it wasn't even like a crazy amount of inversion, but it was a little bit of inversion work today. And for me, that's probably like my least favorite thing to work on is inversions, because I'm terrible at them. But then it's also a reason why I should work on them. But so for me, my lesson today was like, okay, in my head, my initial thought was like, I don't want to do this. Like, it was just like, the initial thought kind of felt like, all right, just go through the motions of it, but this isn't my favorite thing. So like, whatever, kind of like, don't even. So then my intention right away was like to go through the motions of the move and not like learn, so I corrected myself. Like, what are you doing? Like, learn, try to pick up, even if I'm able to, improve 1% on the inversion, or, you know, um, you know, get better at the first three parts of the move, and then, need to work on the rest of it. But at some point, it's just like, you're there to train. I'm putting in the time. you were my partner today. It's not fair to you to have that mentality of like, so like be a good partner, train, right? And then, David was teaching today. It's like, I mean, he's the instructor. If I have questions, ask him. But instead of like, I don't like this because I'm not good at it, so I'm not gonna like apply myself. That was like a really shitty attitude in my opinion. So I was able to, kind of catch that right away, um, and then at least put some intention behind the training and try to improve on it. So, and I think that again applies to life too, right? Anything new that comes out, comes along. If you're not good at it, if it's unfamiliar, um, initially you might tend to like, when you're out, kind of like when you get outside of your comfort zone. I think growth comes, when you get outside of your comfort zone, right? When you're starting to tread that line. But so I think that applies to life too. If something makes you uncomfortable, or if you're not good at something, if it's new, it's all the more reason to try it, to learn, and to want to understand it.
For sure. All right. So the next segment of this episode will be philosophy with Mike D. This one actually kind of goes along with what both of our lessons were about, lessons from the mat. So it's going to be from Epictetus, the book Discourses. So it's going to be throw out your conceited opinions, for it is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. So Mike D is going to break that one down for us. Obviously, that's a pretty applicable line for what we were just talking about.
Yeah, very applicable. Yep. So this breakdown is again coming from one of my favorite books that I like to read every day, and it's The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. So he has a write up in here, following this quote, and it goes: "Of all the Stoics, Epictetus is the closest one to a true teacher. He had a school, he hosted classes. In fact, his wisdom is passed down to us through a student who took really good lecture notes. One of the things that frustrated Epictetus about philosophy students, and has frustrated all college professors since time began, is how students claim to want to be taught, but really secretly believe they already know everything." And that was definitely me, at points in my life for sure. And it says, "The reality is that we are all guilty of thinking we know it all. And we'd all learn more if we could set that attitude aside. As smart or as successful as we may be, there's always someone who is smarter, more successful, and more wiser than us. Emerson put it well: every man I meet is my master in some point, and in that I learn of him. If you want to learn, if you want to improve your life, seeking out teachers, philosophers, and great books is a good start. But this approach will only be effective if you are humble and ready to let go of opinions you already have." So I think that is, for me in life, that was, reading this quote, and there's tons of other quotes around this same thing from different, different people throughout history. This thing that, and then I guess it's like over and over reading this quote in a different way from a different person over the years. But this is like something that is still a reminder that, I think, being humble to learn is so important. So if you want to learn, you have to be humble. You have to open yourself up to learning and be able to receive what the lesson is. I think a lot of us are when we're in a learning environment, sometimes we're already thinking of what we know, or we know the answers, as opposed to like sitting back and kind of like being open to the lesson and learning from that individual, or that topic, or whatever it is. So I think this is a great reminder that we all need to be humble. We all need to have the willingness to learn and to be open, and to let go of our opinions that are usually formed in a little bias sometimes too, right? So we have like kind of this like preconceived opinions that's created by our environment and created by a lot of things that sometimes we need to check and just see, hey, maybe there's something here that needs some tweaking and needs to be changed, or even if you don't change your opinion, or you don't learn something totally new, there's something there that just being open to the lesson, I think, is very huge for the human mind.
Yeah, going along with that, what I wrote down was already knowing everything versus thinking what is being taught is pointless. Because, both of them obviously are an ego thing, but throughout my life, usually when I'm not listening to a lesson, it usually hasn't been a matter of me thinking, oh, I already know this. It's me thinking this lesson's pointless. That was the reality for every single math class growing up, besides statistics. And I actually like stats, but like algebra, pre-calc, all that stuff, I always thought, all right, I'm never going to need to use this ever again. Why are we even learning this? And same with some of the like the inversion stuff. Like, this is pointless. I'm never going to be good at inverting. But all that does is stunt growth, and that's just another instance where the ego is telling you, hey, like, you don't. This is worthless. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. What they're teaching is dumb. They're teaching some weird Aikido karate stuff that, doesn't work, and we don't need to learn that. Like, you're fine. And it's not a matter of me thinking, oh, I've mastered this topic. It's no, what they're teaching is dumb. And that's always how it's been for me in terms of when this has been applicable. And I think that, that's just another instance of the ego. And we all know that we need to control the ego, and the ego lies a lot. So do with that what you will.